Hey Anika, how are you?
Hey Heidi, I am doing well. It's Wednesday. I'm feeling great.
Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. Thank you for coming on. Trendsetters, I'm here with the dynamic Anika Tillery. We're in the house. We're going to just chat and we're
Mhm.
going to get to know you some more so that we can support all the things that you're going. You're definitely a trendsetter. That's why we have you on. And in lieu of Domestic Violence Awareness Month and all the things that you're doing for in the community, I wanted to shout you out and support you and support all the people that are going through domestic violence right now.
Okay, thank you.
So you and I first met at the Daughters of Deborah Ascend conference. It was, we don't even have to talk about how
Phenomenal.
dynamic and
Mhm.
impactful, and that really was such a great conference with Pastor Allison Mahan. And you spoke a bit about your story then, and then follow up later on in the year. We ran into one another again at Marion Hubbard's event space
Yes.
over at Rochdale, where you were doing writings on the wall. I think
Yes.
it was our writings on the wall.
Writings on the wall.
Yeah, and which did highlight domestic violence survivors and for them giving them an opportunity to tell their stories in a safe space.
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit more about, who Anika Tillery is. How did we get here? What brought us to this place?
Whew. First of all, thank you so much for having me up here to discuss such an important topic that unfortunately in our society is still taboo to talk about, right? And
I'm
still
gonna pause. Hold on. We're gonna have to edit. Yeah, so sorry about that, Nika. Really.
worries. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me up here. I'm excited to engage in this conversation um, around topics that's unfortunately still taboo to talk about, still hold such a stigma for the survivors and those that are still currently going through these issues. So, my organization is Our Writings on the Wall. This was an organization, is an organization that was birthed from my own experiences of trauma, both sexual violence and intimate partner violence on the psychological abuse side. Um, it's an organization that our mission is to empower survivors of sexual violence and intimate partner violence to own their healing story, right? To begin to destigmatize what reporting means, to begin to take back their voice and recognize that the shame and burden of experiencing and being exposed to sexual violence and intimate partner violence, it's not their badge to hold, right? It's not
Right.
their shame to carry. But being able to say that I am a survivor and not just a survivor, but I'm an overcomer and that there's still more to my story. We also work to educate adolescents on healthy relationships because let's be honest, like rape culture, violence
Absolutely.
against women and children, it is a part of the culture, and so beginning to teach adolescents, both boys and girls, around what are healthy behaviors in a relationship? What does it mean to honor myself, love myself, value myself? How do I own my voice to speak up and say, I don't like what's being done to me? What does it look like to reach out for help? And also to engage the community, because when we talk about such atrocities in this society, we have to acknowledge that when it comes for healing, there's also the community needs to be involved in the healing, in that healing portion. And that's going to be done through support, through compassion, right? That we're coming
Yeah.
together to hold space for survivors so that as a survivor, I can say for myself, if I felt like I had more spaces, I wouldn't have hid in shame for so long. And I wouldn't have stayed in some of those unhealthy trauma responses if I had spaces. So, our writings on the wall is all about holding space for survivors, holding space to allow them to take whatever space they need to heal and to own back themselves.
You touched on so many important topics. One of the things that I want to talk to you a little bit more about is I want to thank you for reaching out to our teens because this is very important. I know both of us are clinical social workers, so I get a lot of feedback from males
Mm,
who aren't sure about, if it went too far.
yes,
You understand what I'm saying? And these are girls that are being the aggressors,
yes,
and they're not comfortable. You understand? The feedback is, look, I'm not sure, but I wasn't comfortable.
yes.
I went along with it
Mm,
to save face, but I still didn't
yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
how things went. You
yeah.
understand? And by curating these spaces where we can have these type of conversations are very, very important. You know, I think moving away, as you said, from the stigmas that's attached to domestic violence and proper healing is something that we can't speak enough about, and we can't really support one another enough on.
Mhm,
There's different cultural facts
yeah,
that come into play, and sometimes people really aren't understanding or aware that they are being violated, regardless of what's at stand. You
mhm,
you know, and having places where other people can discuss their questions openly
mhm,
is so important. It's so important to our community. It's, right now we're advocating for the healing of our community
mhm.
in Trendsetters Talks. And that's our main focus. Like, how do we get it? That's why we ask people like you to come out and talk about your organization and what it is that you do, even to share some personal stories. I mean, I know that you have some success stories as well as you have some um, stories that may have been a bit difficult for you to pivot through. If you can share some of your stories that you've heard with our audience so that if anyone wants to get in contact with you or anyone is going through these same type of personal traumas, I would like for you to talk a little bit about, if especially in our Black communities, this is something that, again, we don't talk enough about, but it's
Mhm.
happening. It's happening at a very, very large amount since coronavirus. Our numbers have plummeted, so we really have to pay attention to what's going on in the now. Please share with us some of the things that you've experienced while doing this work, or even your own personal experiences.
Thank you. So I also work in the child welfare system in New York City. And so many cases were on my caseload where intimate partner violence was part of their stories. Oftentimes part of the mothers, they were the ones that were being caused harm to. And so even as you speak on that, I think about a situation where I had a really close friend of mine, and she was in a relationship where there was intimate partner violence. And for those that are listening, when the language of domestic, so October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so domestic violence can speak to anyone in the household. When we talk about intimate partner violence, that's between two individuals that had a romantic relationship at some point. Doesn't even have to be present or current, and it can be current, but they had a relationship, an intimate one, at some point. And intimacy doesn't just mean that they were having sex, but if they were in
Hmm.
a romantic
Right.
relationship. And so she had experienced intimate partner violence, and she had been with her husband for a number of years. And he was psychologically and emotionally abusing her. And that abuse had started very early on in the relationship, of planting these seeds that she was nothing without him, that he had nothing to
Hmm.
offer the world, that she was insignificant, that everything was her problem, her fault, that no one would want her with two children. He was also financially abusive. So If she had a job, he would call the company, call her job a million times a day. She had been
Oh my
fired from a
goodness.
number of jobs. He controlled the money. And so I remember this, again, this is so many years ago. I remember being so passionate, like, okay, so this is what we have to do, and this is what we're going to do, and all of this. And then she came to work one day and she told me that he found out that she was trying to leave and he pulled a gun on her.
Mm,
And
wow.
then because he knew I was trying to help her, he threatened to shoot me. And I remember a light bulb going off because my son was really young at that time. And all I could think about was the danger she was now in because he
Yes.
found out that she wanted to leave. It can take up to 7 times for a victim of intimate partner violence to leave the relationship. And the most dangerous time of their life is when they are leaving that relationship, right? And so what it makes me think about is as society, how quick we are to say, well, just leave.
Right.
If it's that bad, just
Right.
leave. If he's
Right.
doing this, just leave. But I guarantee you, in more instances than not, the abuse did not start as physical abuse.
Right.
Abuse started as that psychological abuse,
Psychological. Right.
emotional abuse. And I
Yes.
know
Yes.
for myself, I remember being in a relationship where there was psychological abuse. And because I entered the relationship with already having insecurities, my ex-partner was able to build on those.
Right.
And I can recall a time of picking my son, we were picking our, I was picking my son up and I think he said to me, don't take too long.
Mm,
And I took a while, but not that long. And I remember coming back to the car, and as I approached the car, I just broke down crying. And I just kept apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then it happened again. And that's because for so long, if anything went wrong, it was my fault.
right.
For so long, all I could think of is if things keep being my fault, then he's not going to be want to be with me. And he already convinced me that no one was going to love me like he could. No one was going
Mm,
to be there for him, for me, like he could. And so it was these seeds that were planted. So oftentimes women are experiencing those types of abuses before it even hits the physical abuse. And
yes.
it's important for us
Yes.
to recognize that even that physical abuse, that's about power and control. And so if I'm
Absolutely.
experiencing physical abuse, I also know what it's like for things to be better. So if we can just get through this situation, then it's going to get better until it's not. And it's just this cycle that continues to happen. And it's not for the community to judge and put survivors down because all you're doing is keeping them back in this box where
Right.
I can't
And
tell
re-traumatizing, re-traumatizing,
over and over again.
re-traumatizing. It's a perpetuating cycle when you can't hear and express that compassion,
Yes.
it's the cliche that if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes being an ear is so much more important than being a mouthpiece,
Yes.
you know. Um, one of the things that stood out to me was when you said that psychologically it starts, and this is a tool that's used, that manipulation, so and it does escalate into different things, once I have this, which is the psychological piece, then I can grab on to the financial piece, I can grab on, and it does, more than likely become that entire circle of abuse that people do experience. And it's unfortunate again that people don't feel safe enough to speak about it.
Mhm.
Um, when we as social workers, we faced with that so many times. We get threatened
Mhm.
personally by families, for one reason or another. And when you're faced with that, and where do you draw the line? Where's your boundary with that?
if someone like brings that particular that issue at their, whew, I think that's such a tough one, right? And I think it could vary case by case. I think there is a balance between, you can always hold space, that compassion, that listening ear, that love and support. But there is a balance between putting yourself also in the line of fire, right? And honestly, I don't know the answer to it. I mean, as you asked that, what
I
came
know
up
it
to
goes,
mind?
it does go case by case,
Yeah.
and it's instincts. A lot of the job is instincts, when we're dealing with that particular dynamic, and it's tricky because you think of police who are called to intervene in these type of domestic violence situations, and how much times you hear that their lives are being taken away because of interference, at the time of, just when you're saying, just when I'm ready to let go, just when I'm ready, I'm out of here, I already checked out mentally. And let's talk about that a minute. When do you find that a person is ready? What do you think gets them to that point? Is it really the last straw that broke the camel's back? Or, what do you think? Is it something that compiled?
I think it is compiled, and I think for each, again, that case by case basis. For some it might be that last look in their child's eyes that pleads
Mm.
them to no longer be in that space, so that they're no longer being hurt. For some it might be the last night where they were curled up in a fetal position being kicked. For some, it might be that last time that they were strangled and they realize, if I don't leave now, he is going to kill me. Um, for some, just looking in the mirror and seeing a person they don't recognize and wanting more, and just it takes I say this word carefully. It takes a lot of courage to leave, and that doesn't dismiss the women, and it's not meant to minimize or invalidate the experience and say that if you didn't leave that you're not courageous. But it takes a lot to put your life at risk. It takes a lot if that person has controlled the finances. It can take a lot to recognize that you may have to start over, and that you and your child may have to live in a shelter, leave your job, and really start your life over. So I think there's so many variables that can come into play, which is why the whole blanket statement of, well, just leave, there's so many factors
Yes,
at
yes,
play. And the
yes,
just leave is never an answer that empowers or strengthens their courage to do so.
right. Um, what do you find is a commonality in our Black communities as far?
Okay. I'm
Let's
so,
talk. Let's
let's
talk.
talk. Because I
Let's
had
talk.
this statistic ready. I said, if we talk about this, this
Yes,
is
let's
exactly
talk.
what
Let's
I'm going
talk.
to bring up. So there was a study done, and I'm going to be looking down as I say this, a
Yes, yes,
study done
yes.
by Boston University, Chobanian and Avedissian School of Medicine, and Howard University. They completed a study with a
Okay.
little over 1 million adult women that have been hospitalized in the United States from 2003 to 2015. The primary diagnosis between all of them was either suicide or a self-inflicted injury. From
You
that
said a million.
1 million, did I
She.
1 million 31,693. The study showed that among adult women in the United States, the highest risk of suicide and or self-inflicted injury is among women that are aged 31 to 45 years old, higher earning Black women, and
Mm.
women who have experienced intimate partner violence, who are uninsured or current smokers. What it found,
Break that down.
right? Those three parts. So that age group, 31 to 45, is the age group that I fall into. Higher earning Black women And women who have experienced intimate partner violence, we're now in Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Suicide has increased in that age group. And so immediately when I saw that statistic, all I could think about, especially for the higher earning Black women and those that have experienced intimate partner violence, I thought about myself as a Black woman, and I thought about Black women as a whole, and this mystical, and so some are gonna not like me when I say this. I do not buy into Black girl magic. And
Okay,
are we phenomenal? Yes. Are we
absolutely.
are we strong? Yes. Are we courageous? Yes. Are we so many beautiful words? Absolutely. And that title of strong Black woman, that title of Black girl magic has crippled us in so many ways where we don't ask for help anymore. Too many of us have grown up in
Mm.
households with strong Black moms and strong Black grandmas and strong Black aunties and strong Black sisters and cousins that we don't know how to say, I am suffering, I am being harmed, I am dying inside, I'm drowning in my own tears, but you can't see them because guess what? I'm supposed to be magic.
Right.
We also live in a society where we know that Black men, the world is not built for them, right? And we know systems that are against communities of color as a whole, but talking about Black men. If a Black woman is being abused physically, sexually, emotionally, in any way by a
Mhm,
Black man,
mhm.
how do I call the cops on this Black man and put another Black man in jail, right? Like that's part of the burden
I get you.
Black women carry. And so now experiencing intimate partner violence, having a higher education, still the rates of the statistics are saying that Black women are dying by suicide. And I always tell people now, listen, I am not your superwoman. There are going to be times where you do not hear me roar because I'm tired, because I
Right.
need help, because I'm not magic, because sometimes I was broken and it's only God's grace that I'm whole today. But we
Mhm.
have to be able to hold space for one another where we can be vulnerable, and
Yes,
vulnerability is not a weakness, right?
right.
Otherwise, we're going to keep having generation after generation of Black girls growing up to be Black women that believe we have to endure everything because society and our own community says that we were built for it. Just because we've overcome traumas after traumas doesn't mean we now have to be in relationship with those. So I'm having a conference tomorrow, and one of the speakers,
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk where we can get, give all
yes,
your
so
information and
I'm
get.
gonna give that. One of the speakers talks a lot about having endured trauma. His name is Omari Williams. Having endured trauma, we begin to have relationships with our wounds, right? And healing from those wounds can have both positive and negative impacts based on what that relationship looked like with that wound, right? And so he's one of our speakers tomorrow. Our conference, this is our third annual Releasing Our Suffocated Words, and it's a virtual conference. The theme this year is Released from Shame and Blame, Empowered to Choose Healing and Wellness. And this year, the theme is really centered around October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. September 10th was World Suicide Prevention Day. On October 10th, which is tomorrow, it is National World Mental Health Day. And the following
Right.
week after that is World Mental Health Awareness Week. And so the goal this year is to really hold space for courageous conversations around wellness, courageous conversations around giving power to voice, having the conversation that talks about how do I intentionally seek out my healing? How do I intentionally seek out help? How do I intentionally um, seek out a space that's going to allow me to heal and overcome the tragedies that I've experienced and not stay stuck in that place? And so that's why the theme this year is really a call to action that I can be released and I am empowered to choose healing for my life and not be stuck and stay stuck in the place that tried to take my voice away or that for a period did take my voice away.
I know that customarily we think of the face of domestic violence as women,
Hmm.
but in hearing you summarize your event tomorrow, I thought a lot about stories that I've heard from men,
Yes.
stories where they've been victimized by family members, and traumatized, even in the understanding of who it was,
Yes.
and predatorily sexually abused them.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have to be strong.
Hmm.
You can't share that type of information. There's no safe place for men to have that type of conversation and get compassion,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And I'm just bringing it up because, like I said, there's so many different individuals that we cross paths with in this space,
Hmm.
and you hear so many different stories, you know. Um, well, I was at an uncle's house, or or it was a friend of a big brother, you know, things just got too carried away. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of young ladies and a lot of young people that are on dates face having to fight their way through eat both sides of the fence.
Yes.
I had a young man that told me a story that he went over to his girlfriend's house, and there was a friend there, and they persuaded him to have oral sex. They performed it on him, and then he just was so uncomfortable with that whole situation, and which led to sexual intercourse with them both. But he definitely did feel traumatized, and he was like, look, this is one of those, can I ask you a question type of conversations, and we spoke about it. And then, so many different men opening up now and talking about their stories so that other young males don't walk into certain things blindly, and we needed to have that space so long ago. I think that if we normalize what's going on in our community and stop covering things up, I think that we can begin to address with a lot of the root
Yeah.
causes, because one of the things that you and I both know, that when people are going through psychological abuse or emotional abuse or even sexual abuse, they begin to lash out in other ways. And a lot of our youth have so many other things going on that when they're, and this is their way of releasing. So sometimes, they're diagnosed as being defiant behavior or this, that, the other, and the root cause is not being addressed, you know, and the root cause isn't being addressed because they're scared. They don't want to come out and tell their stories. you know Young girls are being violated the same way. I know a young girl who went over to one of her friends' house, and a young man was standing behind the door, and she got herself into something where she had to fight for her life, basically, to get out of that situation. So these things happen, and innocence is robbed. And by having organizations that's yours, what led you to even start? How did you even begin to say, I wanted to start this writings on the wall? I wanted to do, you know, I know that your own personal story but it's different with saying to yourself, I want to do something more. What was your motivation?
Well, God gave me our writings on the wall when I was probably about 14. Um,
Wow.
I think when I was 16 years old, I remember this isn't even on anymore. But I remember watching the Apollo when Apollo
Mm,
came on that night, and I remember sitting there, and I felt my mind slipping,
mm,
and I remember giving my mind permission to slip. I remember saying, "Go," and I can
wow.
tell you that I felt it leave me, and then I heard God's voice say, "No."
Mm,
Felt Him put it back. And so the I know the enemy's plan for my life was for the experiences that I had survived to take me out. And I also know that God put something great in me to help bring a healing to many women and men that have experienced sexual violence and intimate partner violence, because I think when you talk about those two areas, it becomes a place that you're buried in mentally. You might not be
yes.
there physically, but you're buried there psychologically and emotionally. And then you see the results of that in some physical behaviors, some trauma responses, and then you're penalized and scrutinized and criminalized and judged for having trauma responses. And when I look back over my life, I tell people you cannot look at me and imagine the things I've
Right.
overcome.
You do not look like what
I
you've been
do not
through.
look like what I've been through, and how dare I not hold space for other people
Mm,
to know that it's possible to be made whole, to know that it's possible to heal, to know that it's possible to not define, at this point, not even society, but not define yourself by trauma, to know that you're more than what negativity that anyone spoke into your life, right? And so holding that space, a space that I wish I had when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s. And so now being that space, and it's only by God's grace, it's only by His mercy, and it's only by His leading that this space can be held. And that's why it's called Our Writings on the Wall. It's collectively us coming together and putting the okay, I'll tell you. As I was saying it, so someone once asked me, well, why writings on the wall? Like, where does that come from? And I explained to them, in my darkest place, I felt like I was alone in a cave. Whenever
mm,
you watch like television, or even when caves are unearthed, like these hidden caves, you see writings on the wall. If a person is being held hostage, more often than not, you're going to see some markings on the wall
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
says, I was somebody help, I was here, that you will not forget who I am. And so our writings on the wall is, we're going to write, we're going to speak up, we're going to speak out. You will not ignore my survival, and my survival can help someone else's survival, even if it's just a writing on the wall that says you will make it, you will survive, you will heal, there will be a new normal, you are an overcomer, right? And so,
And you are here.
and you are here.
You
And
are here, and that's so important. That's so important because, sometimes it's just like you say, sometimes you're going through so much, you literally check out, and that's the thin line between suicide, you know, and living, and having a safe space where you are here,
yeah.
you are worthy,
Yes.
is a place where so I don't even think, the community is so traumatized. This can be so extended,
Yeah.
I know that it's a place that, like you said, you focus on domestic violence and things of that nature, but it's community violence as well,
Yeah.
and certain things just perpetuate a certain cycle. We have to be more proactive and supportive of spaces like what you provide so that we can heal and that we can talk. I mean, this platform, Trendsetters, is all about, as I said before, coming together and having conversations so that we can heal and that we can move on. We have to find our wealth as a community, our worth as a community, and take proactive measures, and I greatly appreciate all that you continue to do in the community. What is some of the stuff outside of events? Talk to us about what to expect once somebody calls you up and walks through that door and says, I'm here.
Two things. A survivor, a person experiencing doesn't owe us their stories. And so first, as a community, as a person that they trust to call, recognizing that it's an honor for someone to tell you the most vulnerable part of their lives, to ask you for help, to look to you for compassion and love. And so to first recognize that honor, um, be a sitting space for them, validate them, encourage them, love on them. Do not push them to just like if it's a survivor and they're sharing their truth with you, it should not be like, okay, well, make sure you leave right now. We're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that. Because if that person knows that they're not ready to leave and that's your first response, then they're not going to come back to you.
Right.
Because they're already feeling judged. Because if they don't leave and you said to leave, now they're fearful that you're going to blame them. And so we don't always have to solve the problem. We don't always have to immediately get you out, but it's okay. I'm going to hold this space. I'm going to keep holding this space. I'm going to keep encouraging you. I'm going to keep supporting you. I'm going to keep empowering you, because what I can do is plant the seeds, right? For some people, you can plant the seeds. And then as that builds in them and their own readiness begins to increase, then that can shift for them. For some, it might be having resources and just knowing about the resources. Safe Horizon has a hotline, whether it's for sexual violence or domestic violence, that when you call the hotline, if the person that's causing you harm is present and they redial the number, it's not going to say welcome to the hotline. It gives a generic message, right? So even if you have like just that piece of information that you can share, and even in that, be careful how you give resources, be careful how you give information, because if you hand someone a card and they take that card home, then what danger have we put them into, right? And so also like hearing from them where they are, hearing from them what they need, recognizing that the trauma of domestic violence, the trauma of intimate partner violence it's not so black and white. It's not so cut and dry. Again, there's so many variables that are attached to it. You spoke about men. If a man is being is the victim of intimate partner violence, it's ridiculed. It's a joke, right? Like if a man is the victim of rape, of sexual violence, he's made a joke of. Let's talk about our young boys. Like if a 12-year-old has sex, and so look at the language, because I'm going to switch it to the correct language. If a 12-year-old boy has sex with a 20-year-old babysitter, it's woo! He's the man because he had sex with a 20-year-old babysitter.
Absolutely.
But in
And
New
that's happened
so
so much. I've
all
heard
the
so many of
time.
those stories all the time.
So I'm going to focus on New York. In New York, the age of consent is 17. So a 12-year-old cannot consent to sex with a 20-year-old. So then that 20-year-old is committing statutory rape. Right. But because we, as a society, it's now glamorized, or it's like a badge of honor for boys. But what it's really doing is prematurely introducing sex into their life and inappropriately introducing sex into their life. And now they no longer have a healthy introduction, relationship, or
Yes. Mhm.
understanding of what that now brings, right? And so I've met a lot of men that talk about that experience of the babysitter, the
Yes.
teacher, his friend's mother, his friend's sister, where now as adults they're recognizing that they were molested,
Yes.
that they were
Yes.
raped, that they were sexually abused. And now you take this idea that used to be a great thing, like a badge of honor, and you now have to process it that it was actually trauma,
Mhm.
and then help to understand why some behaviors existed, right? And so as a society,
Yes.
being
Yes.
able to acknowledge that those things are not right. It's not right. Stop telling young boys that they're the man if they
They're the
no,
man.
they're not. They're being abused. And we
Right.
have to be able to hold space for anyone that's experiencing these types of traumas.
You know, going back to your event tomorrow, tell us a little bit more about it and, tell us where we can log on. You said it was on Zoom.
So it is on Zoom. It is a virtual conference. Again, it's our third annual Releasing Our Suffocated Words conference. The theme this year is is holding space and releasing shame and blame and empowering survivors to choose healing and wellness. It is virtual, and you can go to our website, www.ourwritingsonthewall.org. The whole thing is spelled out. Again, that's ourwritingsonthewall.org. The event is free. It is from 12 to 2. You just have to register to receive the link. We are going to have a panel discussion around mental health and supporting both male and female survivors of domestic violence. We're going to have a survivor of sexual violence share her healing journey. We're going to have some breakout rooms, do some giveaways, and just hold space for one another. Our theme is always building community. And we always in the conference throughout to build community, whether it's in the chat or verbally, we let each survivor, each person know that we see them, we hear them, we believe them, we are them, right? And just holding space to let them know that they're not alone. And so we
They're
invite
not
any and
alone.
everyone. You don't have to be a survivor. You can be a survivor. You can be the community to come and just learn what does it mean to hold space, and how do I support and strengthen my own mental health for myself and for those around me.
Do you have an Instagram page or any social media where we
I
can find
do
you?
have Instagram. I am okay. I gotta look at it so I can tell you the exact name. I can't remember if I spelled it out
You
or not.
like me. I
So
know what you're talking
yes,
about.
it is. So let me get that correct. Let me just hit that. So it is Our Writings
Mhm.
OT Wall. Again, that's Our Writings OT Wall. That's our Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn as Our Writings on the Wall.
Okay. I have one more question, and it's a self-reflection question. I actually wrote it down. So I'm going to look over here. How has your personal experiences shaped your perspective on life, love, and relationships?
Ooh, that's heavy. Uh,
Yeah, that's
my personal experiences. For a long time, my personal experiences negatively shaped relationships in different capacities.
yeah.
Again, because I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I was dirty. I felt like the traumas were my fault. And so then that's what was mimicked in relationships. But once I understood my identity in Christ, then my experiences simply became part of my story, and it was a chapter that I was able to turn that didn't determine the next chapter. And so from that place, relationships became healthy, right? Because I was whole, I was joyful. And so relationships are now from a healthy place of engagement, a healthy place of having a
Always.
voice. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your time. It's always, you're what is it? Spoken word, you know.
I poetry.
Yes, yes, yes. I really, you do it all. You wear a lot of different hats. I appreciate who you are as a woman. I appreciate all that you're doing in the community. You're a true trendsetter. And we love to have you back on anytime. You can invite Lisa and I out. We always, yes, 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 we always show up. We're there. And, whatever you got going on, you have our full support on Trendsetters. And thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to learn more about domestic violence and becoming more aware and having safe places to curate these type of conversations. Is there anything else you want to throw out before we close? Again, addressing the audience and what do you think? How do you think we can support you, or what is it that we need to get rid of as a community?
Ooh, I think I'll just say violence. You talked about community violence earlier. So violence of any form is taking place in so many communities. And if we simply say that experience is their experience, and that experience is that person's experience, and that experience is that person's experience, then we minimize the impact of all of their experiences. That's really the community experience. And so with that, healing has to take place collectively.
Yes,
It has to take place. I mean, we see the Black Lives Matter movement, we see the Me Too movement. Those are not movements simply because it was one person's experience and then minimizing. Those are movements that says something has to change. And
yes.
for any type of violence, we can no longer be bystanders. It's not enough to be a bystander. Like, speak up, stop something, call someone out, challenge someone, educate someone, do something that's going to leave the world better than what you know it to be.
We thank you. We thank you. That was very, very important. That we have anti-gun violence initiatives going on with in the future with Trendsetters. And that's a place of, where we're at as far as violence is concerned in our community. We have to curate spaces where it's okay to talk about how we feel as an effect of what we've endured.
Yes.
We can't continue to be desensitized to such very, very, very important matters that are affecting our community and has toxified how we perceive certain things. You understand? So, we're here. We're here and we're doing it together. And I thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
for your support. And again, you have ours. And
And you have mine. Thank you to you and Lisa for holding this platform and bringing to light so many issues and bringing to light what the community is doing.
yes, 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 yes. Lisa's doing a phenomenal job. We just trying to do what we can do to do what we got to do.
That's right. That's right.
I can't say it any other way than that. But it
Right.
was great having you. Thanks again. You always been welcome to jump on. You could give Lisa or myself a call and yeah, we'll talk more about the Anti-Gun Violence Summit. I do want you to come out and say a spoken word, so we'll talk.
Absolutely.
We love you, sister.
You too.
And you take care.
You too. You too. Thank you.